twist. Still alive! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Plot Twist, Still Alive. This is your hostess with the mostest, 3-time cancer survivor and chaos coordinator, Crystal with a K. Welcome back, guys. I'm so glad you're here. We are on episode fucking 15, which is insane. I'm so excited about that. And I have a lot more guests lined up, and we have one with us today. She is a friend of mine, but she's also been through a lot, and you wouldn't know that until you really talked to her. I didn't even know this till recently. So everybody help me say hello to Julie. Julie, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Yes. So here at Plot Twist Still Alive, if you don't know the drill, just go back to episode 1 and start from there, because honestly, I can't keep telling you what this is all about. We're talking about hard shit. And sometimes we talk about awesome shit. Sometimes we talk about hard shit, but we use dark humor and we try to get through it the best way that we can. Ultimately, we're just trying to give hope to people who have endured hard things, because we all have our shit. And sometimes just hearing someone else's perspective on something might give you some hope to make it through that. So today we are actually going to be talking about losing a parent as a child. I have never experienced this. I do have people close to me that have, but you actually lost a parent when you were 9 years old. Is that right?
Yes, I lost my dad.
I think that discussing this, there's a lot of people out there that have, and again, we're all adults becoming friends, and you don't really realize what they might have went through as a child. I can't even imagine what that's like. So I'd love for you to start by kind of telling us a little bit about your family and your childhood leading up to that.
So I have 4 siblings. We grew up in a small town, and my dad traveled a lot for work. So he'd be home short periods at a time and then gone for a week or travel. He was a salesman. My parents got along great as far as I could see.
What did your family look like? How many kids were there?
There was all 5 of us there. My oldest sister is 13 years older, so she wasn't there a lot of it because obviously she graduated high school and went to college. So growing up, it was obviously me, and I have a twin sister. And
yeah, I just found that out too. I looked at a side note. She shows me a picture and I'm like, why the fuck are there 2 of you in this photo? And she's like, oh no, I have a twin. I'm like, I'm today years old when I found that out. You don't just keep shit like that from people.
Well, also you don't introduce yourself and say, hi, I'm Julie. Oh, by the way, I have a twin. So
I think that's a fun fact you should absolutely do almost every time you
For
talk.
sure.
Because what if she was somewhere and I was talking to her and she'd be like, I have no fucking idea who that is. I'm just saying, you set me up for failure.
People have seen her out in public and just knew that she was my sister because she looked just like me.
Agreed. So anyway, sorry. So
yeah.
You had the oldest sister, 13 years older. You had the twin sister, and you guys were the babies, right?
Yes, they were the youngest. And then I had a sister 2 years older and a brother 9 years older. So
Wow, they were like all over the place. You guys were like you know what? We'll do it again.
Oh, no, we were a total surprise. And
Okay.
yeah, my mom was 40 years old when she found out. So,
Wow.
Yeah, she did not plan to have 5 children.
And did twins run in your family?
My grandfather was a twin on my dad's side.
Okay. So that was the final baby, surprise baby, and surprise bitch, it's 2 babies.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
I mean, me and my siblings are all really close now. Well, my brother, he lives a few hours away, so we don't see him as much. Growing up, he was the typical mean older brother.
So dating was fun.
Well, luckily,
Well, he was 9 years
yeah.
older, so
Yeah.
you didn't have to deal with that too much.
Yes, no, yeah, he was out of the house by then. So, I mean, he had to deal with us while he was dating. So apparently it was fun having little sisters like chase you around with your girlfriend. So I'm sure he loved that.
Obviously, spoiler alert, we already said what you've endured, but was there anything that you kind of noticed prior to this happening, or was this just literally like a shock out of
It
nowhere?
was a total shock. I guess like later in life, my mom did say that she had noticed something going on. I don't know if that he wasn't feeling well or what was going on exactly, but she had asked him to go to a doctor and get checked out like a few weeks before. And the doctor pretty much just was like, everything looks fine, and brushed her off as a worrisome wife.
And this was like 90s, right?
Yes.
In the 90s or early 2000s or something?
It was.
Okay. Because I was going to say, obviously, that's a long time ago, and healthcare has come a long way. So how old was your dad when this happened?
He was 49.
So he wasn't even 50 years old at this point. Do you remember like the day that it happened?
I can tell you exactly how that day went. So he was actually on a hunting trip with one of his friends. So they were out in the woods at their camp, and my mom was in the Cayman Islands, and my oldest sister, because my mom had a friend that lived in the Cayman Islands. So they had gone on vacation, and my dad was doing his thing, and we were at a friend's house. It's a friend that we're still best friends to this day. I remember we were supposed to be staying another night, but my friend's mom came in and she was like, hey, we got to go. Your mom's home. I need to take y'all home. And we were like, what? Why do we need to leave? Like, we were mad. We didn't want to leave. We wanted to stay playing with our friend. The mom, my friend's mom, takes us back to our house. Like I said, we were just annoyed that we were having to go back home. And
typical 9-year-old feelings about it. Yeah.
Whenever I remember pulling into the neighborhood, we were like in the turning lane, and I remember like having this feeling. I was like, oh no, something's wrong. And I was like, I feel like someone died. Or
you felt that when you pulled into like the neighborhood?
Yeah, I was just like, we were just about to pull in, and I remember thinking, oh, something's wrong. Like somebody died.
Wow. That's your intuition.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I actually thought it was my mom's friend who lived in the Cayman Islands. I thought something had happened to her. We walk in the house, and honestly, I don't remember much about that evening. I just remember, I don't even know if it was my mom or my oldest sister that told me that my dad had passed away. I was just talking to my siblings about this the other day because I was like, I don't remember anything else from that night. Like, I remember getting the news, and I remember going to sleep. And that was like all I remember from that day.
I mean, I feel like when you're little like that, you sort of block things out. I mean, people have so many different ways that they deal with trauma. Hearing that your parent died as a kid, I don't even think you process it. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you even know how to begin to process that. Even adults don't know how to process loss or grief. I mean, I'm not surprised that you don't really remember all of that.
Yeah.
Do you remember any parts of like mom or sister super upset when you walked in? Do you remember any of that at all? So that's all gone now.
Yeah, I don't remember anything.
You just know that you were told and that you went to bed that night.
Yep.
How did your dad die?
While he was on his hunting trip. And honestly, I don't know what time of day this was for him. But I know that he and his friend were back at their camp. And my dad told his friend that he didn't feel well and he was really tired and he was going to go lay down and take a nap. I guess he had been upstairs for maybe 10, 15 minutes. And his friend just had this feeling that something wasn't right. And he went upstairs to check on him, and he had already passed. He had a heart attack. So
massive heart attack killed him.
Mm-hmm. No other sign before that, and it happened really quickly.
Oh my gosh. Again, that's like a shock. It's not like something you get to like someone's sick and you have a few months to say goodbye. This was just out of nowhere.
Yeah, just totally out of nowhere.
Wow. What did the days after look like for your family and you?
And that's funny you should ask, because I also like don't remember. My mom, and I had mentioned this the other night, I was talking about my mom, she has always been like someone that has an unreal amount of patience. So, but she also just has this ability to stay calm. And so that's like another thing is my mom like never showed like how sad she was about it. So like, I don't remember, I honestly can't even tell you anything about what it was like leading up to like his funeral even.
Well, it sounds like she just was the rock that held it all together. And I think there's pros and cons as a parent. You don't know. And especially back then, parents didn't show you that. Like you didn't a lot of times know what was going on. Years later, when you're an adult, they're like, man, that was really fucking hard. And you're like, holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I know that. But back then you didn't have any idea. This is all kind of stuff that you don't really recall as a child. You're not processing any of this yet. Do you even remember like how long it was until the funeral?
It had to have been like somewhat like soon after.
Within like a couple weeks, probably.
Yeah. It was a closed casket because my mom just didn't want to remember him in that way and see him like that.
I get that though. Have you been to an open casket?
Yes.
Okay. To me, that's hard. Like, because they don't look like themselves. I talk about this in like my grief one. There has only been one that I've ever went to that I actually thought the person looked like themselves. And that's because I'm a weirdo and I did her makeup. It was my grandmother because she had this really weird particular way she did her makeup. Every other time, it just looks like a shell of the person. And it depends on how sick they were as well before, because sometimes they look so bad because they were so sick. I just feel like the spirit inside of them, whatever, the soul, whatever you believe, I do believe in God. I do believe in the soul. But like when it's gone, they don't that doesn't look like them anymore at all.
Yeah, I went to my aunt's funeral when I was very, very young. That was open casket. And here's some little dark humor with that story because I can't remember exactly
I'm here for it, sis.
how old I was for that. But I remember my mom telling us that me and my sisters, when we went up to view the casket, I don't know if one of us accidentally kind of bumped it or what, but we were like, oh my gosh, she moved. And we just were going back to our seats she moved. Did you see that? She moved. And my mom was just mortified.
Did she say no, she didn't? Or she
I'm pretty sure she did. I'm pretty sure she assured us.
You can't bury her. Don't do it.
Yeah, but I just remember that she said I kind of vaguely remember it too. Oh my gosh, what? So confused. But
that actually sounds scary. A dead aunt moved and that's what I thought. Every time I thought of a funeral is that they might not be dead.
And then ironically enough, the only other open casket funeral besides that I've been to was my uncle, which was her husband. Yes.
Huh.
And that was actually just last year. But I didn't go up there because I kind of had this.
You didn't want him to move. Just kidding.
It's the same thing. They're I'm I don't want to remember them like that. So
I will view them. I've worked as a nurse. I've been around strangers that have passed away. So I will go pay my respects in that regard. But it's really hard to look at them as themselves. I don't feel like I personally need that to say goodbye to somebody, but I do understand why other people do, especially if they hadn't seen them in a long time. Some people also need it to make it real. And I understand that too. So I guess that goes into my next question. Grief is a process and it doesn't feel real sometimes for months or even years, depending on who you lose and how old you are and all of that. Did any of this start to feel real at the funeral at all, or what was that like?
And I only know that it still didn't probably feel real because I remember seeing my cousins and aunts and everybody just crying, so sad. And for me, it was more oh, my friends are here. I don't want to cry and my friends see me cry because I'm not a type of person that likes to have all eyes on me. And so even as a kid, even though it was my dad's funeral, it was still just oh gosh, everybody's looking at me because this is for us, my family. So it was not how you would think someone would feel at their parents' funeral.
Well, I don't think there's one right way to grieve. And again, kids especially, number one, they're resilient. But again, second thing, they don't know how to grieve. Death, typically you learn through losing a pet or something like that. That was my first experience. I was 8 or 9 years old, about that age. And I lost my dog. And that was the most traumatic thing at that time that had ever happened. And I was I don't know how I'm going to do it. I remember going to the school counselor about it and feeling so overwhelmed about my dog dying. Maybe I was a little bit older. Maybe I was about 10, but I didn't really grasp what that meant. And then when I lost a person, it was a completely other level. Not that grief wasn't still there, but it was something completely different. And it was essentially a hole that just can't be filled. But there were times with different people that I would still walk into their home and expect to see them for a year, 2 years. I don't think what you're explaining or describing is abnormal. And I hope that people that are listening to this that may have a kid that they're dealing with the loss of, a parent, that they do understand that that is okay, that they're not crying or that they're not necessarily being emotional right away. Because I don't think that takes away from the fact that they feel it. They just don't know how to process it or show it just yet.
Yeah.
I think you were thinking like a 9-year-old, a 9-year-old kid. That's so valid. And I appreciate you giving that perspective. Mm-hmm. Obviously, then emotionally, you just weren't at a space where it was, again, it's traumatic for you. And you probably were just blocking out unintentionally. Your brain does some crazy shit. What did your life look like after? Because you have a dad, he's a salesman. Did your mom work at all?
No.
So she had to go back to work or what happened?
My dad's brother helped us out a lot financially. Let's just say family reasons that he felt obligated that he needed to step up and help in that way. So my mom, fortunately, I was in 4th grade. She didn't work until I was in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
So because of this uncle, you guys were able to have your mom stay home still.
Yes. Because we were about to be moving. So we lived
before your dad died?
Right before my dad died. We had just put our house on the market.
Oh my God.
And it was because my dad lost his job. and he worked with his brother and his dad. And there was some family drama there. So he had lost his job, and we lived in a really small town where there wasn't a lot of opportunity there. So it was like, we have to move if he's going to have a job that can support our family. So our house was literally on the market and when he passed. And so obviously we took it off and we just stayed there.
I'm sorry, just to rewind. Your dad right before that obviously you said he didn't have a job. Y'all had the house on the market, took it off, and were able to actually stay in the house in the town. Mm-hmm. And then the uncle that had worked with him was the one that ended up helping you guys.
Yes.
I mean, that is amazing, because I can't imagine all of that happens and then you have to move too. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's better or worse. I just think in terms of like stability for you guys as a family and you guys as kids, and for your mom especially. I can't even, again, I've been a single mom, but I had to work. I didn't have family that was able to help me in that way. So whatever caused it, it was a fucking blessing, it sounds like.
It was. And it was the house that I came home to when I was born. So it was literally the house I lived in from...
You grew up in.
Yeah, I grew up in there. So I didn't move out of that house until I went to college.
I'm glad that your family was able to step up for her and that she didn't have to do that completely alone. So who was still living in the house at this point? Because you had the oldest sister was out, I assume?
Yes.
And what about the brother?
He was still there. He was a senior in high school.
Oh, God. Yeah. Okay.
My sister was off at college, but after he passed, the oldest sister moved back. So
did she move back in to the house?
Yeah, she moved back home so she could help my mom. And then also my mom's friend who lived in the Cayman Islands, the one that she had gone to visit, she moved in with us as well.
What?
Yes, but we had a guest house behind our house, so she moved in there. So growing up, it was always like having a second mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
So people really like stepped up and changed their whole lives essentially to help your mother and your family get through this.
Mm-hmm. But interestingly enough, because I was talking to my sister about this just like 2 months ago, my middle sister, or actually maybe it was Christmas, and I was asking my sister-in-law because I was like, I don't even know how my brother found out about it because, I just...
Why would you know? You were 9. But they're older, so their memories they probably retained somewhere.
Yeah, and also in asking it, I was like, how come we've never talked about this before? Like, it's been...
It's weird, right? You just like move on and you don't ever forget it. It's there always, but you're like, you never talk about it. And then when you do sit down and compare, it's like, holy shit, we've never ever discussed this in 20 some odd years or however long it's been.
Yeah, like, because I'd never thought about how they found out or like their reaction. And I think I was asking my sister about like how that night went. I was just asking her about that too. But
the middle or the oldest?
The middle sister. I was asking her, I'm like, wow, like what even happened? Like, I don't even remember that night. And I think she said we all just kind of like hanging around the house. And it was just kind of like everybody just being sad. But then my sister-in-law was telling me, so like I said, my brother was a senior and he worked at HEB. Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit to say that my brother's wife, her mother was my first grade teacher and my sister's first grade teacher. Then they grew up, they were like just 2 houses down from us.
So neighbors, and you knew them most of your life.
Yeah, small town too. So just so happened, my sister-in-law's mom that ran into my mom at the gas station when she just got back into town.
So she gets this news. She has to come back from the Cayman Islands, which I'm assuming took a day or half a day or something of travel. So she has to travel with this.
Yes.
To get home to tell all of you.
Yes.
Because did anyone call your oldest sister first, or did she get home and tell all of you in person?
Well, my oldest sister was with my mom.
Okay, that's right. You said they both went together.
Yes.
Okay.
So when my mom got back in town and she was at a gas station, she ran into my sister-in-law's mom, told her what happened. So then her mom told her, and then she told
your brother,
my brother's best friend. Well, no, she told him because she was trying to figure out, did my brother know yet?
Okay.
So she tells my brother's friend, who maybe they work together. That's what it was. And they were working together at the time. So then his friend just was like, hey, have you talked to your mom? And he was like, I think he said no, he still didn't know what was going on. So my oldest sister went and picked him up from work and brought him home. And I want to say she told him while they were in the car, like driving home.
Okay, you were going to make me nervous because I'm like, that would be so fucking hard to hear from your best friend at work that your dad passed. I can't even imagine. So I'm good. That's a good friend that he didn't tell him. He let your family tell him.
Right.
Even though, again, that's crazy to hold on to, though, like even for a few minutes.
Yeah. So it was just
that's
interesting
wild.
to like know how my other siblings experienced it. Because also my sister that's 2 years older, she could tell you, I don't know if it's just she's more, I don't want to say like, but like poetic. Like she's a writer. She likes to write music. And I feel like for her, she was 11. I feel like it was a much deeper pain for her.
I think we all experience emotions in different ways. And just because you hurt doesn't make it more or less. I just think the way that you experience things, depending on who you are, it just affects you differently. So maybe for her, and again, her age in which she was, maybe her brain allowed her to really process what that meant.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
Try to understand and comprehend. Again, we'll get into yours a little bit more, but I would imagine as you grew up, it was more like not having him there for certain things.
100%. So that's to go back to say, like, when did it become real for me? Because like he was traveling a lot. So it wasn't like I was used to him being in my day-to-day life. So that wasn't different. But I was literally just telling my sister this, my twin sister. I remember I must have been in 5th grade. And we were in a class where we had a project where we had to bring something from home that was special to us and present it to the class. For me, I was like, I'm going to take the last family photo that we have with my dad. And I was prepared to share it. Like, I thought that was something really special to me. And then when it came my turn to get up there and talk about it, I just totally choked up and had to just walk out of the classroom and go to the bathroom and crying.
How old were you in this?
That was 5th grade.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You like really thought you could talk about it.
Yeah.
And then you couldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, honey. I want to go back and hug 5th grade Julie. That's so sad.
I know. And that's what I think when I was telling my twin sister about it, I was saying how sad that was for me. Like, now that as an adult.
So was that
back,
like, that was one of the biggest like things though, as the first thing that you really like think, okay, this starting to set in is real and emotional and wow. Yeah. And again, your brain's crazy. Like it does crazy things because you really this was your project. You were fine with doing it until you had to do it.
Yeah. And then I also like, in speaking of that too, I knew it took like many, many years for me to even be able to talk without him without getting like a frog in my throat.
So your body was still like reacting and responding in a way of grief, but you maybe didn't know that at the time. Wow. So this happens, like you said, that's the first time, which was a little bit like a year or so after.
Yeah.
And then as you continue to grow up, again, he's not there for you going to high school or your brother's senior year graduation or prom photos or any first boyfriends, all of the things that maybe he wouldn't have been day in, day out, like you said, but things that you imagine, oh, my dad would be here for this thing, father-daughter dances, whatever. Not just you, but like overall with your family, like how did that impact y'all? Did you feel like anybody like stepped up or was able to help in that? Or was that when like the whole was most noticeable?
It's so random, the moments that like makes you think of like, well, if they were here, even down to who I was dating. I dated a lot of crappy guys.
Daddy issues.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm like, is it daddy issues or is just that like my parents had such a great relationship that I just thought everything could be like that. And so when it wasn't, I thought I could fix it and make it into that. Yeah.
Girl, same. And my dad's alive, but I have daddy issues. I think just having a father figure that's positive is very helpful. And like you said, that they had a really great dynamic, but he's not there to guide you and be like, hey, maybe don't date that joker or don't date that clown.
So when those relationships would, end how they would end, I would kind of always think in my head like, ugh, well, you know what? If my dad was here, I would have never even dated that guy.
Right.
So I think a lot about how my life would be totally different. Like if he would have still been here because we would have moved, like our house was for sale. And honestly, like like I said, that was a house I went to when I was a baby. So we didn't want to move out of town. So like, I just think about like, I would have moved there, had totally different friends. My life would have just gone a totally different direction and I wouldn't be where I am today, which is like kind of weird to think about.
I mean, I think about that in my own life a lot and look watching other people's. I don't want to say like as fucked up as it sounds with death and everything, you can't find meaning or purpose in it. And you're like, I would never be here if my dad didn't die, right?
Yeah, and not even necessarily like
not good or bad either, just different, right?
Just totally different.
But then also like now where you're at in your life, like you have a family and you have children and you wouldn't have met these people or been in these relationships that probably taught you something. I'm sure none of it's a waste of time, even if it feels like it is.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, your life could have been a completely different way, but also not just yours, your mom's, your siblings, those people that stepped up for you, the friend that moved into the house with you, like it could have looked completely different.
Yeah. And I will, so another thing to go back to like, you know, did anyone kind of step into that role? And no one did. And as much as I would like to be like, my brother should have done that because he was, you know, older and he just was in the prime position to be able to do that. But obviously, you know, everybody has their own things. And it wasn't a man that like stepped up to like be that role in my life. It was just a lot of women. It was my mom's friend. And then my friend's mom the friend that we were with when we got the news. So her mom was always around too. So she was also like another mother to me. So it was really just like being raised by a bunch of women.
Yeah. Girl power, bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it is what it is. And I still think that that's incredible that you had that and your mom had that. Because really they're supporting her more than any, like, yes, you guys, but I think for her, she had some people to go to that understood that she could lean on and ask for help and things like that. And again, this isn't to knock anyone that doesn't have a dad or any of that. I do think having a male and female figure, even if it's not your dad, to look up to and to help guide you, especially in your teenage years, it does play a role.
Oh, yeah. I like, again, it's just like, even just having a male perspective on things or opinion on things, like not having to push it on me, but just voicing it to me. I feel like, you know,
it could have
made different choices maybe.
For sure. No, I agree. And again, it has to be like a decent caliber of a human being, of a man, not just any man will do.
Yes,
has to be a good man.
Yeah.
Like your dad was, it sounds like. So like you said, your brother maybe wasn't able to do that. And again, he's dealing with losing his dad too. I don't know the dynamic of your family really at all. So I'm just going, all of you lost a dad, and some people cope and they maybe mess up by dating the wrong people, and some people go way off and they use it as an excuse, and there's everything in between. And I've seen that in my own family dynamics with abuse and different things that are trauma period, right? So did your family in general all end up back on a good path? Do you feel like everybody kind of still like eventually evened out?
Yes. Well, my mom, and like one thing that I held with me through my whole life growing up after my dad passed was I just couldn't believe my mom and her strength. And I used to be like, wow, like she never, you know, it's not like she's like putting her sadness on us. She's just like, you know, live your life and be happy. And she was always just like generally a happy person and never got too angry about anything. So, especially now that I've gotten older, like, and heard other people and how they grew up, like I'm so appreciative of how she was. And she was so strong that I think that it allowed all of us to like still stay on a good path.
Man, your mom sounds like a freaking baddie, like for sure. And she's also 40, so she's tired.
Yeah, exactly.
with little kids. Yes. So, I mean, that takes an incredible amount of strength. And again, not to say she didn't feel things, but some people are just able to put that aside. Death gives you perspective. Her husband dying. Oh, go ahead.
Another thing, my mom, she actually lost her mom to cancer.
Wow.
So
this was not her first really big loss.
Yes. And honestly, like this was also a recent conversation I had with my middle sister. Because, you know, you get older and then you kind of like understand emotions and like how, you know, it's healthy to express sadness or emotion to your kids to show them it's okay. Now, while her ability to do that, like did as a child and growing up, I saw it as strength. But as I got older, I was like, but wait, why didn't she do that? Like, why wasn't she able to show us that? And then my sister told me, my middle sister, she was like, well, you know, she lost her mom. She watched her mom get sick and have to deal with that. And she was like, that changes a person. And she was like, nothing can hurt me now. I lost my mom. So I can deal with the death of a husband.
And watching someone die of cancer is a really difficult thing to experience. And again, she had also stood in your shoes as far as losing a parent.
Well, and she'd also lost her dad too.
She lost both?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
she probably was just doing what she thought she would have needed at that time, maybe.
Maybe.
And also, again, we're talking generational differences. So I've dealt with grief, and I've dealt with, if you've listened, cancer. I know cancer 3 times. We got it. But with my children as a mom, what you're talking about, I've done it both ways. I've hidden feelings from them because I didn't want to burden them, put that on them, make them scared. And then when shit hit again, I realized, and it was 5 years later, or almost 6 years since my second diagnosis. My kids were like, cancer's no big deal. Mom just did it. It's fine. And in my head, I'm like, that was so fucking hard. That was like the hardest thing ever. And I'm allowing my kids to believe that it's all fine. Right. So then when they become adults and they face their first hard thing, God forbid it's cancer, but let's say death or grief or any other sort of trauma, that they're going to be comparing how they're reacting. And then let's say they do get emotional, or they do lose their shit, or they do fall off they fall off the bad path go on a bad path for a little bit. I don't want them comparing to me because I lost my shit all of the time. And so my second time around, I did show them more emotion. And it's good to hear, like you telling me your perspective now. It's really nice to hear that you did question that a bit, because I think that is important. There's like a happy medium. Like, you don't want to give your kid, put all your emotions on your kids or make them feel responsible for your feelings. But I think it's perfectly okay to say, hey, this is fucking hard and I'm struggling a little bit, and let them see some of that too.
Yeah.
But it sounds like she was just doing the best that she could, and she had already endured a lot of loss. And so for her, she was at the time probably doing what she thought was best in that moment.
Right.
And overall, it sounds like you and your siblings still ended up, all things considered, okay because she was so strong.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree. Like, all of my siblings have, we all went to college, we all graduated, and actually
5 of you.
All 5
went
of
to
us.
college.
Yes.
Did your parents go to college?
My dad did. My mom did not.
But that's all of you?
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
And
congratulations, man.
Thank you.
No, seriously, that's a huge thing.
Seriously, like, that was probably, like, I will tell people that was my biggest accomplishment, was to graduate college, because it took me 10 years after I graduated high school to finally get done with college. I changed my degree and...
Girl, same.
Yeah.
I literally did all my prereqs for nursing. We're going to squirrel again. I did all my prereqs for nursing in my early 20s. I could have had a soccer scholarship. I was like, I'm in love. Fuck that. I'm moving out of my parents at 18. Again, daddy issues. I move out. I go for like 3 years, kind of do my own thing. And I was into fixing people too. So that first relationship, that's what I was doing, focusing on that. Still putting myself through school at community college. And I get into a nursing program. That relationship bombs. And I'm like, I'm going to move back to Texas. I wasn't living in Texas. I moved back. I can't get into the nursing program here because the credits and everything are different.
I know, because nursing was my first choice.
See? Yes. And you don't need a lot of that for other things. And everyone's like, it's super competitive. So I spent 6 years just bartending, doing Coyote Ugly. I ended up having a kid. Like, I say getting in my own way a lot because I made bad choices, but I also don't regret any of that.
Yeah, you're living your life.
And I also put myself through school. So I valued and appreciated it a lot. And I knew that, like, I had to work hard. And so I went back at 30, right before my prereqs like ended up getting expiring or whatever. Yeah. And I got pregnant. The first few weeks I was pregnant with my son. And that's a whole nother story. But like, long story short, I didn't even take off. He was born the day after my second semester. So I had all summer with him. And I spent 4 or 2 years doing that. And at 30, I think it was 32, I fucking graduated from nursing school. And so I say all that to say, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
But also, you can fucking do it. Like, you are standing here. You're a perfect example of, like, shit gets in the way, life gets hard, and you still ended up graduating from college.
Yeah. And I was a single mom with 2 kids when I graduated.
High five, bitch. I became a single mom right after I graduated. That was my freedom, actually, being a nurse. Oh, but I wouldn't have had that if I didn't push myself. So every time people are like, oh, going to nursing school is hard, or going to do this at hard, anything you want in life is going to be hard. life is hard, but you are an example of, hey, you can do hard shit.
Yep.
And so am I. So like, don't fucking give up. I know that was like a little soapbox, but I think that's important. People need to know that. Like, your life isn't all great just because it all fell into place. You had to fucking work for it, get in your own way, have hard shit happen, and then be like, all right, get your shit together. Let's go.
Yeah. And speaking of college, so being in college was also like another time in my life where it was like, man, if my dad was here. So we were blessed to have the opportunity to have our at least 4 years of tuition paid for.
That is a huge thing.
By my grandmother, my dad's mom. They were really well off. So when we were young, she bought us something called the Texas Tomorrow Fund. So that paid for 4 years of college. So
shout out to grandma.
Yeah.
Graham.
Yeah. Especially since it took me way longer than 4 years.
Yeah. But that's okay.
Yeah. So thankfully we had that. But my mom, she bought an assisted living. So she finally like went back to work. And that was what she chose to do.
Wait, you said she bought a facility?
Yeah. So
like a whole ass facility for assisted living for elderly people.
Yeah. Like she bought it from somebody. So it was like already already in business. So she
owned it.
Yes.
And it was already a working business.
Yes, which in a small town in that kind of industry, let's just say it's really hard to keep enough residents in there to keep business doing well.
I guess that makes sense because you only have a limited population. And so
with the money to pay for it, because it's expensive.
Yeah, that's true. Well, because you just said like even when your dad was working, there weren't a lot of job opportunities there.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
My mom, I mean, we got school loans or grants or whatever. Because also my mom never, like after my dad passed, she never dated until maybe our senior year of high school. And yeah.
What?
Yes.
Okay. Again, your mom is a baddie. I can't. Like,
I mean, honestly, she did it right because
if your mom can,
how fun is that to not have to have a man like
you're not going to tell me how to parent, motherfucker. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
And also I have my girlfriends living here. So girl power, Spice Girls. If you want to be my lover, nope, you can't. Not till my kids are gone.
So yeah, it was just my mom. Like when we went she did remarry, like I think my freshman year of college. You know, that wasn't like, he's not going to step in and like pay
be
for
your dad
stuff.
or do any of this stuff. Yeah.
And so
I'm assuming he probably had kids and stuff of his own. I mean, at that point, if they're around the same age or close to the same age.
Yeah, he has 7 children.
Holy macaroni.
Yes.
Okay. Well, good thing she waited because that would have been a whole lot of other shit to take on.
Yes. But being in school and like our first year, my mom helped out a lot. And then after that, she was just kind of like, all right, you know, she paid our insurance and our phone bill. And we had vehicles, but it was like, we still had to pay for our gas and our food and our rent.
I moved out when I was 18 and nobody paid for my shit. And I do think it taught me early on how to survive. But I also do feel like that's kind of what she was doing too. And you still had like that little safety net.
Of 100%. Like she was trying to set us up to
be successful as adults.
Yeah, and know how to take care of ourselves.
INDEPEND. Something else. Do you know what that? So clearly that's why you're such an independent woman and you were able to single mom and do shit like that. Again.
Yeah.
How cool.
I mean, you know, as a teenager, you're just like, why can't you just help me a little bit more?
Can you just pay everything, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I would literally think to myself, like, if my dad were here, he could pay for it.
Did you ever say it to her?
No, I never said that to her.
Oh, you are nice. Yeah. I was a horrible teenager. I would have fucking said that. My dad, who's dead, he would have totally done this. You should feel horrible.
Yes. No, I did not do that to her because, again, my mom was such like a nice and patient person. It's not like I would be so spiteful. I mean, maybe some people would, but not me.
Me, I'm horrible. Please, God, don't hold that against me.
But yeah, so I would just think like, man, if I had a dad here, like I know my dad would help me. And I know that like I wouldn't be needing anything. Like he would just be there.
So I think with loss, that's what continues throughout basically your whole life, right? Like it's the what ifs. Yeah. It's the where would they be? What would they be doing? How would we be doing this together? And, you know, even when you go on a trip or again, you have a child or you have a life event, a wedding to have your dad walk you down the aisle, like all of that shit, it's always it never got to be. Right. And what would it be? Yeah. And going down the rabbit hole of that. And so it sounds like you were, you know, even doing that as a teenager. And I would imagine it still happens to you to this day with certain things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like now with my kids, it's like, I'm like, they would have so much fun. Like he was such a silly, like goofy person and just like loud life of the party kind of guy. And so like that is like today, like how it comes up with, he never gets to meet them and they don't get to meet him. But, and then also to kind of backtrack to like another time where I felt like he was missing was my senior year of high school. Me and my twin sister are both on the homecoming court. And so we'd have to be walked out on the field and everybody has their dads. So for us, we're like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. Like, who are we going to have walk us out? And so I don't know if my brother wasn't available or if we just didn't want to ask him. I don't know. But my sister-in-law's dad actually is the one who walked us out. And we'd always known him because they live right down the street from us.
Right. This is the teacher's husband.
Yes.
Aww.
So he walked us out. But that was another like, I don't have a dad.
Yeah. That's rough.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining everyone in this small town kind of knew, right?
Yes.
Like it wasn't a secret.
Right.
And were you at a high school where most people knew everybody?
100%.
Okay. So it wasn't something that anyone was surprised by that you had somebody else walk you, but it's still that moment for you and your sister. Mm-hmm. So you're like, shit, he's not here.
Yeah.
Side note, how offensive would it be if you as a twin didn't get homecoming court and your sister did?
Well, funny story about that because since it is a small town and me and my sister, we had all the same friends. And so we went into our senior year and we decided preemptively like, hey, one of us will go for homecoming queen and one of us will go for prom queen. But we're not going to go for the same because then our votes will get split and then neither one of us are going to win. So
genius.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like that happened.
No, it didn't. So homecoming, the ballots come out and both our names are on there. And I was like, what the heck? Well, I found out later that she had gotten herself nominated because she didn't want to do prom queen. She actually did want to do homecoming queen too. So she got herself nominated. So we were both on homecoming.
Okay. And so who got prom queen?
One of our friends.
Damn. Neither one of y'all?
No.
So who won homecoming queen?
Well, that was homecoming.
It was court, right? So
we were on the homecoming court. So neither one of us got homecoming queen. But neither one of us went for prom queen. So.
Okay. And there were 5 girls total in your high school. So I'm just kidding. It was Becky with the good hair. Did she get both homecoming and prom?
No, it was different girls.
Well, at least there's that.
Yeah.
And you got honorable mention. You guys were both on court. Side note, if you have a twin, these are just things to think about, or you have twins. I guess let's fast forward to now. So you kind of have told me how it's impacted a little bit throughout. Did you ever go to any sort of counseling or therapy or ever feel like you hit a point where things started processing a lot more at all in your adult life?
I never did any kind of counseling. And I actually talked again. All this conversation that I've had recently was all around Christmas. And I think that I had just kind of been thinking to myself, like wondering these things. I'm like, why don't I just ask? Actually, you know what it was? After Jenny passed, I think it was around that time that it just kind of got me thinking more as a child, like as her daughter. And so it was making me think of how it was for me. And
that's the first time I heard you talk about it because I heard, like we were discussing, like what it's like to lose a parent. And you basically said that your dad had died when you were like 9 years old. And I did not know that, but that's why I think it's important to hear how you turned out because it's sad and it's tragic and it's life altering. And you're saying it is. You can survive it. And so anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
So that got me wondering, like, how did things go when I was a kid? Like, how did things happen after that? And so I asked my mom. I was like, I asked her, I don't know if I asked her specifically about counseling or if I was just asking her if she had like tried to talk to us about it, like how we felt. She said she did take us to the pastor at our church to talk to him about it. She's like, well, I tried to get him to talk to y'all a little bit. And I was like, you did? I don't remember it. She's like, you don't remember that at all? And I was like, no. I guess when she said tried, that like maybe it just wasn't, I don't know if they like just didn't try enough or what, because it must have only been at one time. If it was more than that, I do not remember.
And you were probably like, no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. And so they were like, well, she seems fine.
Yeah.
Go on about your way. Jesus loves you. So it sounds like your grief that you had for a friend, and we're talking years later, and that circumstance still connected to your grief with your dad. And I have noticed that grief, in my experience, and a lot of people I know, it almost brings all of it back, like those same feelings. And maybe it's a different person and you had a different relationship, but you're like, wow, that I remember feeling this or thinking this.
Yeah. Because like for me, because you asked, like, was there any time that like really all I was able to process like what happened? And even now, like, I don't think there was ever just like a sudden really realizing it. It was just, like we were saying, just like gradually over the years and just coming to understand like how my mom dealt with it. And yeah, I just, just getting older.
And how long has it been now?
How old am I?
I don't know. Are you 38, 37?
I'm 36.
36. Okay. So and you were 9. So 27 years or something.
Yeah.
So it took 27 years and you losing somebody for you to even have conversations about that loss with your family.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And again, I think that gives perspective, maybe, and not to say you need therapy or counseling, because for all intents and purposes, based on just the story you're telling right now, it sounds like you all had a safe space to talk.
Yeah.
You didn't necessarily always use it or did or didn't, but it sounds like all things considered, you still ended up. I mean, you're an incredible person. So like clearly you're okay, quote unquote.
Yes.
But you're always, correct me if I'm wrong, you're always going to feel like that part of you is missing and wonder what it would have been like. It still do if you were here for this or that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I still think about how it would be different. And I mean, I wouldn't have even chose the partner that I did. And like the girls would not be who they are, like my kids. So
right, pros and cons to both. The kids are the kids are the positive, for sure.
Yes, for sure.
I get it. Have you talked to your mom more about like how you viewed her and how she handled it and any of that? I'm just curious.
Not to my mom, like telling her how I felt about her, like not expressing it, because that was just something I didn't want her to feel bad. Like,
because she was doing the best she could.
Yeah, I was just kind of like talking with my sister to try to like understand more, but I've not talked to my mom about it. But also, so I lost my stepbrother recently, and he also died of a heart attack very suddenly, unexpected, just
wow.
Yeah. So in that happening, my mom, she's kind of flashback because to her,
I bet
it's a familiar scenario. So I've heard her express more about like all these emotions of what it feels like, because she's putting herself in that position again of what it feels like to lose a husband suddenly. And so it's been interesting to hear her voice, like that it was really hard for her and that it was really sad, and it makes her sad to think back on it even. So because it
triggers those feelings.
Yeah, which is, I'm like, whoa, like I've never even heard you vocalize being sad about anything.
Well, and it may just be that thing that opens the floodgates for her to have more conversations about it.
Yeah.
So again, generationally, I just think that was so common for people to just shove it down and not think about it. And even if you're like a super positive person, there has to be things. Grief is still there. And again, she lost her husband. And even if you get remarried, you don't ever replace somebody. That's not how that works. You just choose to move on. I always, this is how I describe it for myself. And again, everybody looks at grief different. But for me, I have a hole. I know what it feels like. The first days are agonizing, and even months, sometimes years, depending. But as time goes on, it's not that time heals it. It's just that as time goes on, you almost get used to living with the pain, with the hole, and you have no choice. Like the day's going to come tomorrow, no matter what. And so you can either choose to sit and dwell in the sadness, which is totally understandable. But for me, I've always thought this person would do anything to be here still, and I refuse to live in grief forever, because I feel like it would be a disservice to my life and them. I want to live in honor of the people that are gone.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that it doesn't still come up. And sometimes it could be years, like your mom, years later, and she's now just finally being able to express it for the first time. So
yeah.
I'm interested to hear, like, and as we're friends and continue, like, hear like what your mom, how that works for her in this time, because again, it has to be super tragic and traumatic. And now she's, it's a stepchild of hers. So even if she didn't necessarily raise them, she knew them for years and,
Right.
and it is watching her significant other lose a child, which is a loss. Again, I can't even imagine.
Speaking of that, like what's even crazy to think about is, so my stepdad is in the depths of Alzheimer's right now.
Oh my God. So she's dealing with so much.
She's dealing with so much right now. So not only is she trying to process like this passing of her stepson, but her husband is not, he
can't?
No.
Like he's not capable.
Yeah. He's like, we went to the funeral last weekend and I'm not even sure if he knew why he was there.
Oh my God.
So she's trying to like, it's like double impact because she's having to deal with it herself and then she's having to deal with him, but she's also trying to like compensate for his lack of, emotion towards like his family because he's not able to like express sadness or comforting all the siblings because there's 6 other siblings.
Your mom needs to be a fucking saint. That's all I know at this point.
Yes.
Saint mama.
Yes.
You get a fucking a golden ticket to heaven. Like that's what I feel like at this point. Not to say she's perfect, but it sounds like she has been dealt
She's pretty awesome.
a lot.
Yes.
And she has done her best through that. And again, the proof's in the pudding. All of you going to fucking college, all of you finishing college, all of you being productive, good members of society, that is a huge thing. Yeah. That's so huge. Like, you usually get at least one piece of shit out of 3 or 4 kids.
Yeah, we literally...
No pieces of shit.
No pieces of shit here.
I mean, we are the shit. That's... Take a big whiff. So I guess my question now for you is, if you could go back and like give little Julie something that you could say to her in that time, because maybe she wasn't processing, or even something you could tell like a parent, like your mom, right? Like that holds it in, like that doesn't talk about it. What are things that you maybe would say that you already kind of said with your mother, you would have maybe liked to see a little more emotion, or to know it bothered her?
Yes. Not only that, but just like, and not that she didn't talk about my dad, because she did, but maybe like if she would have like dug in a little bit more to ask us how we were feeling, or I don't know, just like we were saying, just like showing the emotion that like this is sad and it's okay to be sad. And even with that, like it's not like I didn't ever feel like it was okay to be sad, but I wish that she would have talked more about what happened and not just like him and the memories of him, but like more just like that happened. And I think in my...
That it's not taboo.
Yeah, and I think in my scenario too, because it was so sudden, I didn't know it was coming. So it was just like very much a shock. So I just felt like if she would have talked about it more, and then maybe like I wouldn't have, I said for years I could never talk about it with him without getting like a frog in my throat. And I think it's because I didn't have a lot of opportunities to talk about him. So then when I did, it was like, it's okay to talk about sadness and checking in there. And, if someone doesn't want to go see a therapist or whatever, like that's fine. Like everybody has different ways of coping with things. And would it hurt for me to go to therapy probably as an adult? No, it probably would help a little bit, but
well, and sometimes therapy isn't necessarily because you're broken and you need to be fixed or whatever else. Sometimes it's just making sense of the situations that you've been in, or even connecting certain things like, wow, maybe that was a trauma response, or maybe this
100%.
So having more answers versus you kind of feel like I forgot all these things. And sometimes going to therapy will help you find those memories again instead of years later, holy shit, I lost someone. And now, that's the only thing that I think it's helpful with. And nowadays they have like play therapy and different things for kids, because going to therapy in itself and talking to a stranger about something you don't want to talk about is fucking terrifying and traumatic in its own way. Yeah. There are so many good child counselors out there, and it's okay if you do that. And then also as like the significant other, it's okay for you to go and seek help, or at least have, like your mom did. It sounds like she still had friends and outlets though. Yes. And I'm sure those people, if you were to talk to them, did get to see her sad, did get to see her break down. I can't imagine her holding that in for that many years and not you letting them see it, but she was just trying to be tough for y'all. So and I do love that your dad is sitting here with us right now. Like Julie had like this picture, we're going to do it somewhere else in her house. And then I know you guys think I have a fabulous studio, and one day I will. That's in the works once I get 40 listeners versus 30. But her whole family's just sitting here staring at us. And I love that so much. Yeah. And so I just thank you for like telling the story. It really gives me more perspective on you as a person too, because you and I have known each other, but I feel like in the last several months, again, losing people can also connect you with people. And I think that us, even when that friend was here, like we were working diligently to like give her the best fundraisers and raise her spirits and be strong and talk to each other about our worries. But I've really gotten to love all of you very much. And you've never really struck me as an overly emotional person, but always sincere and genuine. And even in talking about this, you're probably the first guest other than my husband who has not cried, which is totally okay.
I thought that I might. I was prepared that I
You were ready for like the 5th grade project again. Like, I can't do it, Crystal. I can't do it. Don't make me.
Because like, also like, so before Eric and I, my husband and I,
your husband.
Before we got married, we did like premarital counseling.
Great idea, by the way.
Yes. And I remember them asking, I think they maybe they're just asking like, expectations. How did you grow up? Like, what was your example or blah, blah, blah. And I was talking about how would think sometimes like, oh, I just wish my dad were here. And whatever it was, whenever I said it, I just like started crying. And I was just like, so it depends. It just really like, sometimes I do cry about it and sometimes I'm able to hold it in.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with either.
Yeah.
I just found it interesting because I'm like, how you describe your mom, I could see her in you. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Honestly, I will say, and my mom will say it too, I think I'm the most like my mom.
I could see that.
Out of all my siblings.
You are very chill. Yeah. You're very calm. You do, but if your dad was the funny one, you're also fucking hilarious. And I'm just getting to know that more. And I'm like, this bitch is funnier than me. Calm down, pipe down. You don't have a podcast yet. So if you did,
because my sister wants to start a podcast.
Tell her to do it. Is it the twin sister?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's which one? The middle?
Oldest? Yes, middle. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But you could be on it and be her sidekick because you're so fucking funny.
Yeah, I think because she and I just bounce well off of each other in conversation. So
that's how I am with my sisters, but my sisters are also way more private than me. And I'm like, I had cancer, ask me about my flipples. And, they're not like that, which is again, totally okay.
Oh, yeah.
But I just appreciate you sharing this. I think that if you connect with us in any way or you have, you want to reach out and tell us how you feel about it, please feel free to email us at plottwiststillalive@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram and social media, Facebook. I also have a TikTok now. Yes, it's cringy. I'm over 40. I don't give a fuck. Let's go. I'm on the sliding downward hill. But is there anything else that you feel like you need to say or that you didn't say before we cut out?
I mean, I feel like I said it all, but I do just want to say again to everybody, loss is hard. And whether it's a parent or a child or family member, friend, I feel like it's just so good to talk about them and do remember the good things because you don't want to focus so much on the sadness. So it is good to talk about all the memories, and it's okay to talk about the sadness too.
I think it keeps them alive.
Yes.
Talking about them.
Yes. And it just brings back the joy of when they're here and the memory of that instead of just like, oh my gosh, they're not here. So
I agree. 1,000,000%. Well, thank you so much, Boo. You've been amazing. And I think we got to end this the right way. So we got to do a high five, still alive, and do your evil laugh. Damn, that was great.